Michiana Keto Rock Stars. Guess what week it is? It's week of the holidays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. Thank you. Sorry I wasn't able to do a live last night. I was in the middle of a musical performance. So I appreciate and I understand if you're not able to join me tonight, but hopefully we'll get some people joining. This is your host, your favorite funny food addict, Amy Davis. And thanks for joining us tonight on a Monday Night Live instead of Sunday Night Live. As always, I'm not a medical professional. Any information provided in this forum is not to be used as medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or services to you or any other person. Any information provided in this forum does not replace being seen by a physician. If you have a medical condition, please seek medical advice from a physician. And please always consult with a physician before changing your diet. Good evening, everybody. I don't see anybody on yet, so if you are watching, please feel free to post in the comments what city, state, and I think we do have some international people that have joined the group. So if you feel comfortable posting that, please feel free to post in the comments where you're watching from. Welcome. And also, if you're watching it live right now, or if you're going to watch it on the replay, type live or replay in the comments. I have a special treat for you tonight. I'm going to make one of my holiday favorites, and really you can make this anytime, but I like to make this every year just because it's a favorite for my family, not just for, oh, Sharon's with us. Hi, Sharon. Sharon, can you go ahead and post something in the comments so I can make sure I can see the comments? Just type hello, just to make sure I can see. That way, if there's any questions, I can respond to them. So anyway, what I was saying is I like to make this for Christmas because people like sweet treats. And I celebrate Christmas, so I may use the word Christmas, but whatever holiday that you celebrate, I like to make this at the holidays because it is a sugary tasting treat. Now, I don't use sugar, I use a sugar substitute, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But even the people in my family that aren't keto low carb love this, and they don't even know that it's not sugar. They just know that it's sweet and they like it. So that's why I decided to demo that this week. Now, I call the sweet roasted nuts, and in parentheses, I call it Janine's recipe. That's my sister Janine, the one that I talk about all the time, because she gave me this recipe, and I don't remember if she just dictated it to me or if she just texted it to me or something. So when I put it in my recipe app, I put it in as Janine's recipe. So I'm going to share this with you. It's very simple to make. There's a couple of tricks that I learned over time. So I'm going to share that with you as I make this. Just so that you guys know what not to do that I've learned over time. So we're going to kind of get into this, and you can use different types of nuts, but I just use the ones in the recipe that she gave me because it always turns out really well. So I'm going to grab a couple of pans here, and we're going to get started. Bear with me just a second, I'll be right back. Now, another thing to note is I always make a double recipe of this because I have a lot of people coming over for the holidays. So just note tonight I am making a double recipe of what I'm going to be posting in the group later. But you don't have to double the recipe. Okay, so I'm also going to talk about what kind of nuts I use. I have, and this is the 2-pound bag from Sam's Club of pecan halves, and I've already portioned this out ahead of time to save some time. And then I also have the 2-pound, it comes in a container of whole unsalted cashews. Now, I like saving this container because if you make a lot of these, I like to put the sugary nuts back in this container for storage. So the plastic container is really good for storing the finished nuts. And again, and I'm not sure what they have at Costco, but I feel like it's more economical to get the nuts from Sam's Club. Okay, so I pre-portioned these out into bowls, and I have the largest, like, and these are pretty beat up. I've used these, so don't look at the condition of them. But it's gonna get pretty messy and sticky and gunky anyway, so probably don't want to use your best ones anyway. So I have doubled, it calls for 2.5 cups of pecans. I doubled that to 5 cups. So I have 5 cups of pecans and 5 cups of cashews, but the recipe calls for half that. And I'm just gonna put them half and half in each pan. And you wanna spread them out half on each one of each type. And also, just so you know, I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees right now. So that has been preheated to 350 degrees already. And I'm telling you, this is so delicious that you cannot go wrong with this recipe. And it's really not hard. The biggest part to this recipe, and now I'm adding the cashews in here. The biggest part to this recipe is there is a little bit of babysitting involved. So you just have to make sure you stir them while they're cooking so they don't burn. But it really is, they're kind of addictive, honestly. I don't make them a whole lot because I personally think that you could gain weight. You can gain weight eating a lot of nuts, too many nuts, and adding the sugar component to it, even the keto approved sugar, I personally think makes them a little bit easier to just go overboard on the nuts. So, but for the holidays, and I don't know if you can see this, but probably see I got a good mix. That's why I use 2 pans, because you just don't want to overdo it on either pan. Sharon left. Okay, so I'm by myself now. So hopefully I'm going to get some watchers on the replay, because this is you don't want to miss this. This is a great recipe for the holidays. Okay, so I have both of my pans of the nuts. Now, what it says to do is while we're making the sugar coating, we're just gonna pop these in the oven and preheat them a little bit. So, actually, this might be the first time I've made these in my new oven since we remodeled. I might have made them last year. So I'm just gonna pop those in there. Okay. So those are heating. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Bring this up here. Let me get these bowls out of the way. All right, so now I just have a mixing bowl. And then it says, okay, it says, while doing that, put 1 stick of butter in a hot pan. And I always cheat. So I have 2 sticks of butter, but I always use that Irish butter. And it comes in these big blocks. I think if you get them at Costco. So I'm going to actually just pop this in the microwave and melt it in there. I probably primarily do that because I just don't want to dirty up my stove top. So we'll get that melting in the microwave. Okay, so all right. Okay, so now we have to take the egg whites. So I have in here, I have 4 egg whites. So I separated egg whites, and I don't know if you have this gizmo. I'm going to show you this gizmo, and I didn't want to do this on the thing, but I have a egg white separator. Hi Kathy, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining me. I have a little egg white separator. And if you don't know how to do that, message me and I can talk to you about that. But I've separated real whole eggs, the egg yolks from the egg whites. And again, I've doubled the recipe. So I have 4 egg whites in here instead of 2. So I'm going to put that in this bowl. And then I can't remember the last time. Oh, and I just dumped my sugar. So we're going to put a little bit more sugar in here just to make up for that. Don't do that very often. Okay, so we're going to set this aside out of the way so we don't spill that again. But I have a hand mixer here. We're just going to whip these egg whites a little bit. Just until they're frothy. I don't usually whip them with stiff peaks, but I usually do it until they're frothy. Just let me stick this in here. I will clean up that sugar in a little bit. Okay, so usually it looks like this is how I do it. And then, okay. Put mixture into melted butter pan and toss until coated. Okay. Mixture of egg whites and monk fruit and cinnamon. So it calls for 1 cup of sugar if you're doing the regular recipe, but I have 2 cups of sugar in here. So I'm going to pour that into the egg whites. And then you don't have to use cinnamon, but it calls for cinnamon, and it's like cinnamon and sugar nuts. So of course I always add that. Now, if you're doing a regular batch, it's 1 tablespoon. But I'm going to do the 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. It says or more, but I find just the 2 tablespoons is sufficient. Okay, and then we're going to mix that in. I think I have something over here. I don't think I'm going to use a mixer. I think I'm just going to use like a fork or something. That makes like this sugary cinnamon goo. I don't know what else to call it. Oh man, it even smells good. So it makes like the stuff we're gonna put on the nuts. Okay, let me check my butter to make sure that is melted. So that is all mixed in. Okay, so the butter is melted. Grab that out here. Probably need another hot pad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is probably bring you guys over here. Be careful. Hopefully, I wish somebody was on here so they can tell me how the audio is this time. I'm going to bring you over here carefully. Set you down here. All right, and then I'm going to pull these nuts out of the oven. Grab my hot pad, bring this over here. Okay, I need another hot pad. I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So, let me get these out of the oven real quick. And let me turn a light on here. Awesome. Make it as bright as possible. Alright, so I'm going to pull these nuts out of the oven. They've been just warming up. Alright, so we got the nuts here. Put them on the stove. And then what we're going to do is I've got this melted butter. put this down here. Okay. I've got the melted butter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir that in. Oh, how hot this is. Over each of these pans of nuts. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit over here. So this is going to kind of act as our oil on the nuts, probably, to help them, keep them from burning. The biggest thing when making these nuts is to just make sure that you're pulling them out frequently. And I always do 2 pans at a time. I think it says every 10 minutes, but I'm telling you, I think you really need to pull them out more frequently than that, because I found in the past that they burn very easy. So you really want to just, you know, I'll do 1 pan, I'll stick 1 pan in, set a timer for 5 minutes, stick the other pan in, set a timer for 5 minutes, and I just keep rotating them in and out. So, but man, they are so good when they come out of the oven. So again, I'm just distributing the butter, and then you kind of just want to stir them. Mix that butter, and I'm just going to kind of, I don't know how hot this is. Okay, pour the rest of it in there. Okay. So we've got that done. And just make sure you stir all that, because you want to make sure the bottom of the pans are coated really good, because that's going to help keep these nuts from burning. This is so easy and is such a delicious treat. So I got that one. Stir this one up, make sure they're all coated with the butter. Okay. All right, so once you have them coated with the butter, then you're going to take the sugar cinnamon mixture, and you're just going to start distributing that in the nuts. Sure you get all of that, because this is what makes them so delicious. So the brand of sugar that I used, I'm using my Lancato monk fruit sweetener, but you can really use any approved sweetener that you like. It just has to be keto approved. And if you have any questions on that, just let me know, and I can give you a list of approved sweeteners. Oh, we lost one. And just make sure you stir this up really good. So I'm going to work on this one, get this all stirred up, and then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this one in the oven and then set my timer. Now, the recipe says that this takes 40 minutes, but I have never had it take 40 minutes. It has always been done before 40 minutes. So you have to kind of learn to get a good eyeball of when he's finished, because if they're done and you keep baking them, they're going to turn like really dark brown or black, and they're going to burn, and you don't want that. So when they get to like, and you'll learn over time what they're supposed to look like. They're going to just get darker and darker and darker. And you'll know about what they're supposed to look like. And I'll try to show you in the video when I think they're about done, when to pull them out. Okay, so these are pretty well coated. So I'm going to put these in the oven and start baking them. I almost need something to stick this in. Let me grab this. Okay, so I'm going to stick these in here, and I'm going to set a timer. Set timer for 5 minutes. Oh, it worked. Good. Okay, so now I'm going to mix up this other pan. So hopefully you can all see that. Okay. And these are totally keto low carb because we have used a keto approved sweetener. Now your friends who want this recipe that aren't, oh, I just lost one in the oven, that aren't keto low carb, they could totally make this recipe too with regular sugar, but again, it wouldn't really be that healthy. And again, you could put almonds in here. You could substitute whatever nuts that you wanted. Okay. And just mix it up really good. And then we're just going to keep pulling these out of the oven and stirring them until they're done. Everybody must be busy on Monday nights. Nobody's joining with me tonight. Where is everybody? So we'll talk a little bit about what to do during the holidays. And some things you can kind of strategize how to stay on track. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven too, and we'll get these going. So those look pretty good. So I'll pop those on the other tray until the timer goes off. All right, so let's see what time it is, 8:24. All right, so what to do, let me pull this up a little bit. What to do over the holidays if you want to be strict. And I'm very blessed. I've been keto for 5 years now, actually. And my family, they just know. They know not to pressure me. They know that I'm not going to eat bad things because they know I just don't feel good if I do. And so they just don't, and they even attempt to make foods or bring foods that I'm able to eat now. So I'm very blessed. But in the beginning, you know, some of my family were like, oh, you could just do this just this once, or, you know, I made this, you can just try this. And but what do you do if you're going to a holiday party or you're going to something that, you know, you can eat beforehand? If there's going to be choices there that aren't going to be conducive to how you want to eat, and if you want to stay strict. I have actually taken food in my purse. I brought my own. When I first started, I was preparing for surgeries, and I had to lose weight by a certain day. I had a deadline, essentially, to lose. so many pounds by. So it wasn't like, you know, I could just take my time. I was going to be on crutches at a certain point. So I had to be strict. And so I would take a salad with me or pack my own lunch bag and take it to holidays. And, you know, if there was food for me there, I would eat the food there if it was good. And if there wasn't, I would eat whatever I had so that I had something to eat. For those people that are just, and I'll be blunt, being rude, just tell them, look, I have a health situation and I just need to eat this way. And if your health situation is that you need to just lose weight, that's your business. It's not their business. So it could be you just need to lose 5 or 10 pounds or 50 or 100 pounds. Or it could be that you're diabetic and you need to watch what you're eating. And nobody needs to pressure you into doing something that is difficult. This is hard. This is like the hardest decision. And I know because I've done it, and I've gone up 30 pounds and down 30 pounds, and I'm right here with you. I may be thin right now, but I've been on this journey and my timer's going off. So let me get these nuts out. At least, I gotta remember, okay, I put the top pan in first. So I think I'm gonna pull this top pan out and then move the bottom pan to the top, maybe? Maybe that's how I'll do it. I think it's been a whole year since I made these, so I don't remember. Okay, so let me reset my timer. All right, so those are some things that you can do. And you know what? People just need to respect, you know, your choices. Okay, so what we're doing now, we're just stirring these. So they're kind of like they're cooking on all sides and not one side is going to burn. You just want to stir them up really good every so many minutes. And when my other timer goes off, I'll stir the other ones. So, and these are just so, my husband just goes crazy over these. So I try to make them, I should make them more frequently, but these are kind of dangerous for me because, I mean, these will probably make me gain some weight if I ate these all the time, even though they are keto approved. Because you can sit here and eat like a whole bag of these, not just a handful. Okay, so I've stirred these up pretty good. I'm going to try to put them back in a single file, single layer. I'm going to stick these back in. So, still nobody with me. Sad. Nobody wants to see me in my cute little elf outfit. It's alright. Okay, so I'm going to put these on the bottom for a minute. When my timer goes off, I'll pull out the other ones. Okay, so be strong. You've got this, especially if your goal is to be strong. You'll be okay, I promise you. Now, take your own drinks. I don't drink Zevia Cola a lot, but I will take them to the holidays. I do drink some alcohol on occasion. I typically, I think I provided the Dr. Berry recommendations, vodka soda. He's got all the different recommendations of what you can do as far as alcohol. I do like a White Claw. The low carb seltzers are probably my thing of choice if I'm going to drink any alcohol. Alcohol is not keto really approved, but you know, good, better, best if you want to celebrate during the holidays. I don't know how long. I was talking for a really long time and I said a bunch of really good stuff, so I'm not sure why you couldn't hear me, but my apologies. I'm going to repeat some of the same information. So basically, I don't know how long you couldn't hear me for, but I am just taking the nuts out of the oven every 5 minutes, and my timer's just going off, and I'm going to kind of repeat some of the things that I was talking about. So basically, let me put my other oven mitt on so I don't burn myself. My apologies, I think I just lost Susan. Okay, so I'm taking the top shelf out, putting the bottom shelf into the top shelf, and then I'm going to stir these. Okay, so let me reset my timer for 5 more minutes. So I'm stirring these periodically. They're starting to brown up. So it might just be one more time in the oven. Possibly. Let's see. Okay, and make sure you stir them really good. They're starting to get really caramelized, which is what you want. I don't know if you can see these or not. But I apologize for all the audio issues. I'll have to try to figure out what's going on there. But I can tell at the bottom if the audio is working, so I'll just have to do a better job of looking for that. Okay, so what I was talking about is what you do on the holidays. Okay, Sue, you're back. I'm glad you made it back. Sorry you couldn't hear me. I don't know how long I was talking. So people who watch us on the replay, my apologies. So what I was talking about was when you are going your holiday, and if you're really trying to be strict, turn this here. Okay, Sue, I just want to make sure you can hear me now. Go ahead and post in the comments if you can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can. But if you can't, let me know. Can you hear me? Okay, so what I was talking about was when you go to your holiday event and you're trying to be strict to meet your goals, and sometimes your family gets pushy. Now, I was saying I'm very blessed because my family, I've been keto, low carb for so long that they just know not to pressure me into eating their cookies, cakes, carbs, junk, garbage stuff. Plus, I get really sick if I do that because I've been well behaved with my diet for so long. And they just know. And actually, my family's so good that they will make options for me and bring them for me. So I'm very blessed that way. But I've heard of people ask me, well, what do I do when I had a conversation with a person and they were like, I come from this background and my so-and-so is always pushing food to me and I can't take it. Well, just tell them, look, I'm doing it for health reasons. And even if your health reason is, I have 5, 10, 15, 50, 100 pounds to lose, that's your health reason. Or I'm diabetic. Or, my case was I had to have surgery in 6 months and I had 80 pounds to lose in 6 months, which I didn't lose 80 pounds in 6 months, but I lost 60 pounds in 6 months because I had to be on crutches and I have stairs in my house and I couldn't do it. I just could not do crutches with that amount of weight on. So I had a medical condition. So if people are pressuring you, to eat food, and what I always did, the other thing I said was, you can eat before you go if you don't think there's going to be anything you can eat, or do what I do, which is sneak food in my purse. I've taken salads to people's houses. I've packed my own lunch. I've been known to take meat and cheese in my purse and nuts and all kinds of stuff. You could take these. But if someone asks you, it's none of their business. Just say you have a health issue. Oh, we got somebody else watching. Who else is in here? Oh, just Susan. It said 2. Okay. So those are a couple of things you can do. Now, the other thing I talked about is if you mess up and have a bad day. Now, I had a bad day yesterday, but it wasn't a bad day like you think. I didn't eat a bunch of garbage food, but I usually try to do some fasting twice a week, and Sunday is usually my fasting day. And I had performances, musical performances, and then I had an after performance party, and I just couldn't do it yesterday. I just couldn't. was too hard. So the normal Sunday routine that I do, I couldn't do. So same thing if you mess up. Same rule applies. Pretend it didn't happen, and then you start over the very next day. So today, I pretended it was yesterday. And I got up and I really got to it. And I did my normal thing of, you know, okay, here's my timer. I'm going to reset this. I'm going to pull the nuts out. But today I really was strict with my eating. I did my fasting today. Only drank coffee and water. You know, did my normal protein stuff. Oh, these are looking really delicious. I'm pull this tray out. Let's see what the other one looks like. Okay, we may only need to, they might almost be ready to come out. Let me push those up a little bit. Let me stir these. So we're stirring these every 5 minutes. I'm hoping everybody can hear the first part of this video. I'm gonna have to figure out why these audio issues are happening. I apologize. That didn't start until this last video last week. Okay, so I'm stirring these so that they don't burn. And again, these are sugar-coated cinnamon nuts with your favorite keto-approved sweetener. And I will post this recipe. And I'm actually going to serve the ones I'm making right now at Christmas. And even my non-low-carb keto family, they go nuts over these. Haha, I made it funny. They go nuts. They're so good. But I also was saying, you got to be careful with these because too many nuts can stall your weight loss or even make you gain weight. So I don't make these all the time just because they can be dangerous. So be careful. If your goal is weight loss, just be careful with them. But this is a holiday treat and it's the holidays. Ooh. So, you know, have fun with that. Okay. So I think pretty soon, ooh, it does say 2 people in here. Sue, you might be counting as 2 people. So, any questions? Sue, do you have any questions? What are you making for the holiday special? Keto, non-keto, anything? What are you making for the holidays? Care to share? I may post my entire recipes, holiday recipes later. But I thought, well, I might as well make something and record it so everybody can see and, you know, kind of get it done at the same time. So, awesome. So yeah, so doing this, I'm making ham and I'm going to make a southern style green bean with bacon and chicken broth. And I was going to make the keto lasagna, but Dennis and I are a little keto lasagnaed out. So we're just going to have the ham and then I'm going to make a cauliflower, I think it's a twice baked cauliflower dish. So I'll post that. And then I made my chocolate chip earlier today I made a chocolate chip cheesecake bake. I posted that recipe in the group before. It's amazing. It's so delicious. And how else am I making? We'll have like cheese and shrimp and all kinds of smorgasbord of stuff. So, okay, so these, my timer should be going off. Let me just check to make sure they're not burning. Okay, it's smoking in here, so I'm going to pull these top ones out because I don't want them to burn. I am going to consider these done. And I'm going to leave those bottom ones. Hi, Sabrina. How are you doing, Sabrina? So I'm making sugared nuts, and the first part of the video didn't have audio again. So I want you guys to see these. So they're still kind of buttery and moist. So what you do is you just let them cool on this pan. Now they're sugary and buttery. So what's going to happen is they're going to stick to the pan and they're going to dry on the pan. And then what you're going to do is you're going to scrape them when they're like all stuck. And then you're going to break them up a little bit. And then I have a little like Santa Claus like cookie jar. And then I just put them in there. And then with a spoon, and then people can grab them out. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull the other one out and let's see what those were. They started smoking a little bit. So that indicated to me that they were burning a little bit. So you want to make sure they're not burning. Okay, so I'll pull these out too. I think they're done. And Sabrina, I know that you're big on this too, and I was explaining. These are nuts, and they're sugary, and they're cinnamon. And while we like these kind of treats, nuts can make you gain weight and stall your weight loss. Or make you gain weight if you eat too many of them. So like I say, I only make these once in a while and I think these are perfect. So I don't know, these are gonna dry, I call them drying, I don't know, they cool and then become kind of crunchy. Right now the coating is still kind of moist on them. So I'm gonna turn the oven off because I'm fairly certain those are done. I don't know if you can see these, but they're sweet nuts. There's also a recipe too for like ranch nuts. I've made those if you want a savory nut. So I have a ranch mix nut that you can make as well. So, ooh, there's somebody else in here. I apologize, the video kind of had a mishap again. It says 3 people, but there's only 2 in here. Any questions? Here, I'll put it so you can see the nuts in the background. Any questions? Can you hear me still? Stand back here. Any questions? Anything? Any recipes that you guys need for the week for your holidays? If you have not made these, I'm going to post a recipe. I highly recommend. And again, this is a double batch. I don't know how much you saw of this, but I always make a double batch of this because even the non-keto people, okay, the sugar that I had on hand, great question. They used to sell this at, it can be any low carb keto approved sugar. Cheesecake oven, yes. Okay, I'll get to that in just a second. This is I used to get this at Costco, but I don't think they carry this anymore, but I think they carry like an earth stevia mix or something. But I recently got like a 5-pound bag off of Amazon, and let me show you what that is. So, I've never heard of this brand before. It's called Duralife Monk Fruit. And monk fruit is my favorite. Stevia is fine. That's approved. Monk fruit's my favorite, but you can use stevia. I would just always look at the back and just make sure there's not any weird stuff in there, because some brands, no matter what, monk fruit, whatever. I wasn't real familiar with this, but before I ordered it, I just looked at the back and just make sure there wasn't anything weird in here. And there wasn't. So I will be right back, Sabrina. I want to show you what I made earlier, but I got to step out into my other office, which is the garage. So give me just a second. Okay, I'm back. So what I made earlier today, this is a cookie dough cheesecake bar. Hi Craig, how are you doing? Merry Christmas. Cookie dough cheesecake bars. And this is like my latest jam. I made it for Thanksgiving, but then I got really sick. And so Dennis and I had to eat the whole pan. I'm crying about getting sick, but I'm not crying about having to eat the whole pan. So this time, I doubled the batch for this too, because I'm a food addict. I doubled the batch for this too. But, and I'll post a recipe for this too. I have posted it before, but I split it into 2 pans because Sherry, who's usually in here, she doesn't like coconut. And Dennis and I like coconut. My mom doesn't like coconut either. So I made one batch with coconut and the other half without, so that people could eat coconut. And I marked a C on the one that had coconut on the saran wrap, so I knew which one was one. And I'm freezing this, so you can make this ahead of time. Craig, tonight we made some sugar nuts. I had to split the video into 2 parts again because there was some audio that didn't work on the first one. So, but I'm going to post this recipe. Just so you know, I'm going to repeat this again. The biggest trick to making these sugar nuts is, it says 40 minutes, but it doesn't really take 40 minutes to make these nuts. You take them out every 5 minutes and you have to stir them every 5 to 7, 10 minutes, and you have to stir them and make sure they do not burn. So you gotta really be in the area and watch. And so it depends on your oven. And these started smoking a little bit, and the minute they do that, just take them out. They're done. And then you let them cool, and they'll have a candied like coating on them, and they are the bomb. I mean, and I was explaining too, you don't want to make these all the time. For me, I can't make these all the time because I would gain, even though they're keto low carb, I would gain weight back. So these are just like a holiday treat, or, you know, if we're going to have a party or a gathering, and even the non-keto people love these. Okay, so did that answer your question, Sabrina, about this is what I made? And this gets done in the oven. And I've started making this. I usually make this cheesecake carrot cake deal, but that takes like 2 days to make. And I can get this done in like 30, 40 minutes. And I do like the cheesecake carrot cake because carrot cake and cheesecake are my favorite things. But Dennis and I are totally like addicted to this now. And it's so quick and easy. The only thing about this is it takes a ton of almond flour. So I'm going through almond flour like a lot. But what other questions? These are great questions. And, oh, another thing I want to mention. Next Sunday is Christmas Eve. And again, I celebrate Christmas. The following Sunday is New Year's Eve, so I'm not going to do a live for 2 weeks. So I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And then we will resume these in 3 weeks, hopefully. Oh, actually, probably 4 weeks because I have a concert, another musical event on that first week in January. So it'll probably be the second week in January. So I just want to let everybody know whatever the second Sunday in January is. Not the first, not the 7th, but the whatever the following one is, 14th or whatever. Any questions? Let me get my iPad and I'll find out exactly what that date is, in case anybody wants to know. Just because my schedule's a little crazy right now. So December, January, the next live will be January 14th. What questions? And yes, Sabrina, you can do an Instapot cheesecake if you're just doing a regular cheesecake. All right. What's everybody making for their holidays? Anything good? Anybody making anything special that they want to share? Anything? Okay, so let me show you real quick. And I got a little pie thing out. I don't know why I chose. Okay, so these are hard now. These are getting hard. And that's why I don't suggest using like your best pan. I don't know if you can see this. Let me point this down. But these are like starting to stick to the pan. That's why I got this little pie thing out. So when they start sticking to the pan, you can loosen them up. That's why you let them cool. And then you have to like basically loosen them from the pan. And then I put them in a little Santa cookie jar. So, awesome. Oh, and they are so delicious. So, any other questions? We have like a minute left of the live. Anyone have anything? No? No questions? All right, everybody. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever everybody celebrates. And we will see you, I think I said, what, the 14th of January? No lives for 3 weeks because of my schedule. And we'll see you in the new year. Enjoy your holidays. Bye-bye, everybody.